Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Mr. Elon Musk.
This is what victory feels like. Yeah! And this was no ordinary victory. This was a fork in the road of human civilization. Okay. You know, there are elections that come and go. Some elections are, you know, important, some are not. But this one this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured. Thanks to you. We're going to have safe cities, finally, safe cities. Secure borders, sensible spending, basic stuff. And we're going to take Doge to Mars. I mean, can you imagine how awesome it will be to have American astronauts plant the flag on another planet for the first time? How inspiring would that be? You know, there's always problems in life. You know, there's this problem, solve that problem. But you know, there need to be things that inspire you. There need to be things that make you glad to wake up in the morning and say, I'm looking forward to the future. Yeah. I love you guys. So, and let me tell you, I'm gonna work my ass off for you guys. So, I really will. So, and yeah, but I'm super fired up for the future. It's going to be very exciting. As the president said, we're going to have a golden age. It's going to be fantastic. And one of the fundamental things, one of the most American values that I love is optimism, and this feeling like we're gonna make the future good. We're gonna make it good. So. Man, I can't wait. This is going to be fantastic. So thank you again. And yeah, I'm just so excited about the future. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Now, and things do get kind of wild from an economic standpoint. Because at a certain point, with AI and robotics, you can actually increase the global economy by a factor of 10 or maybe 100. There's not like an obvious limit. Like Optimus is kind of like an infinite money glitch.
You anticipate a basic income from that the economy will boost to such an extent that a high income would be available to almost everybody. So we'd essentially eliminate poverty.
In the benign scenario, yes.
And the funniest thing is, even though like the socialists and the Marxists are in opposition to a lot of your ideas, but if this gets implemented and you really can achieve universal high income, that's the greatest socialist solution of all time. Like literally,
Yes.
no one will have to work.
Correct. But like I said, there is a benign scenario here, which I think probably people will be happy with if as long as we achieve it, which is sustainable abundance, which is if everyone can have if you ask people like, what's the future that you want,
Right.
I think a future where we haven't destroyed nature, like we have the national parks, we have the Amazon rainforest still there. We haven't paved the rainforest, like the natural beauty is still there, but people have, nonetheless, everyone has abundance. Everyone has excellent medical care. Everyone has whatever goods and services they want.
And we would essentially just
it kind of sounds like heaven.
It sounds like
basically.
it is like the ideal socialist utopia, and this idea that the only thing you should be doing with your time is working in order to pay your bills and feed yourself sounds kind of archaic, considering the kind of technology that's at play.
Yeah.
Like a world where that's not your concern at all anymore. Everybody has money for food. Everybody has abundance. Everybody has electronics in their home. Everybody essentially has a high income. Now you can kind of do whatever you want. And your day can now be exploring your interests, doing things that you actually enjoy doing. Your purpose just has to shift. So instead of, I'm a hard worker and this is what I do and that's how I define myself. No, now you can fucking golf all day. You can, whatever it is that you enjoy doing can now be your main pursuit.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds crazy good.
Yeah, that's
So the best-
that's the benign scenario that we
The
should be aiming
best
for.
ending to the movie is actually pretty good.
Yes. I think there is still this question of meaning, of like making sure people don't lose meaning. So hopefully they can find meaning in ways that are that's not derived from their work.
And purpose. Purpose for things that find things that you do that you enjoy. But there's a lot of people that are independently wealthy that spend most of their time doing something they enjoy.
Right.
And that could be the majority of people.
It's pretty much everyone.
But we would have to rewire how people approach life, which seems to be like acceptable because you're not asking them to be enslaved. You're exactly asking them the opposite. Like no longer be burdened by financial worries. Now, go do what you like.
Yes.
Go fucking test pizza. Do whatever
Yes.
you want.
Pretty much. So that's probably the best case outcome.
That sounds like the best case outcome, period, for the future. If you're looking at like how much people have struggled just to feed themselves all throughout history, food, shelter, safety. If all of that stuff can be fixed, like how much would you solve a lot of the crime if there was a universal high income? Just think of that. Like how much of crime is financially motivated? The greater percentage of people that are committing crimes live in poor, disenfranchised neighborhoods. So if there's no such thing anymore, if you really can achieve universal high income,
Yeah.
it sounds like a utopian.
Yes. I think some people may commit crime because they like committing crime. Just
Oh, sure.
some amount of that is they just
There's a
enjoy
lot of
it.
wild people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously they've become 40 years old living a life like that. Now all of a sudden universal high income is not going to completely stop their instincts.
Yeah. I guess if people want to have like say read a science fiction book or some books that are probably inaccurate or the least inaccurate version of the future, I'd say I'd recommend the Ian Banks books called the Culture books. It's not actually a series. It's like a sci-fi books about the future. They're generally called the Culture books. Ian Banks Culture books. It's worth reading those.
When did he write these?
He started writing them in the 70s, and I think the last one, I think it was written just like around, I don't know, maybe 2010 or something. I'm not sure exactly. Yeah.
Scottish author Ian Banks.
Yeah.
From 87 to 2012.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But he wrote the like his first book, Consider Fleavus. I think he started writing that in the 70s.
And
These books are incredible, by the way.
Oh.
Incredible books.
4.6 stars on Amazon. Interesting.
So,
So this gives me hope.
yeah.
This is the first time I've ever thought about it this way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it, like, I'll often ask people, what is the future that you want? And they have to think about it for a second, because, you know, they're usually tied up in whatever their daily struggles are. But you say, what is the future that you want? And generally sustainable abundance, or at least if I say, what about a future where there's sustainable abundance? Like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good future. You know, if that future is attainable with AI and robotics, but you know, it's like I said, there's not every path is a good path. There's this, but I think if we push it in the direction of maximally truth-seeking and curious, then I think AI will want to take care of humanity and foster humanity.
So what do you think the solution is to the jobs that are going to be lost because of AI and robotics? The jobs due to automation, the jobs due to no longer do we need human beings to do these jobs because AI is doing them? Do you think it's going to be some sort of a universal basic income thing? Do you think there's going to be some other kind of solution that has to be implemented? Because a lot of people are going to be out of work, right?
I think there will be actually a high demand for jobs, but not necessarily the same jobs. So, I mean, this is actually, this process has been happening throughout modern history. I mean, there used to be like doing calculations manually with like a pencil and paper. It used to be a job. So they used to have like buildings full of people, cold computers, where the banks would like. All you do all day is you do calculations because they didn't have computers. They didn't have digital computers that people
Abacus.
do. Yeah, well, it was just people would just like add and subtract stuff on a piece of paper, and that would be how banks would do, you know, financial processing.
And you'd have to literally go over their equations to make sure the books are balanced.
Yeah, and most times it's just simple math. Like, you know, like in a world before computers, how did you calculate? How did you do transactions? You had to do them by hand. So then, when computers were introduced, the job of doing, you know, bank calculations no longer existed. So people had to go do something else, and that's what's going to happen. That's what is happening at an accelerated rate. Due to AI and then robotics.
That's the issue, though, right? The accelerated rate, because it's going to be.
It's the accelerator. It's just happening. Like I said, like AI is the supersonic tsunami. So that's what I call it, supersonic tsunami. So
it's like, what other jobs will be available that aren't available now because of AI?
Well, AI. Is really still digital. Ultimately, AI can improve the productivity of humans who build things with their hands or do things with their hands, like literally welding, electrical work, plumbing, anything that's physically moving atoms, like cooking food or you know, farming or like anything that's physical. Those jobs will exist for a much longer time. But anything that is digital, which is like just someone at a computer doing something, AI is going to take over those jobs like lightning.
Coding, anything along those lines, yeah.
It's going to take over those jobs like lightning. Just like digital computers took over the job of people doing manual calculations, but much faster. Cars are going to be autonomous, but But there's just so many desk jobs where really what people are doing is they're processing email, or they're answering the phone, and just anything that isn't moving atoms, like anything that is not physically, like doing physical work, that will obviously be the first thing. Those jobs will be and are being eliminated by AI at a very rapid pace. And ultimately, working will be optional, because you'll have robots plus AI, and we'll have, in a benign scenario, universal high income, not just universal basic income, universal high income, meaning anyone can have any products or services that they want.
So
But there will be a lot of trauma and disruption along the way.
So you anticipate a basic income from that the economy will boost to such an extent that a high income would be available to almost everybody. So we'd essentially eliminate poverty.
In the benign scenario, yes. So, like, the way
There's multiple scenarios.
There are multiple scenarios. There's a lot of ways this movie can end. Like, the reason I'm so concerned about AI safety is that, like, one of the possibilities is the Terminator scenario. It's not 0%. That's why it's like I'm like really banging the drum on AI needs to be maximally truth-seeking. Like, don't force AI to believe a lie, like that. For example, the founding fathers were actually a group of diverse women, or that misgendering is worse than nuclear war. For the first time, we will have for the first time something that is smarter than the smartest human, and that. I mean, it's hard to say exactly what that moment is, but there will come a point where no job is needed. You can have a job if you want to have a job for sort of personal satisfaction, but the AI will be able to do everything. So I don't know if that makes people comfortable or uncomfortable. It's hard, you know, when there's new technology, it tends to usually follow an S-curve. In this case, we're going to be on the exponential portion of the S-curve for a long time. And you'll be able to ask for anything. It won't be, and we won't have universal basic income. We'll have universal high income. So in some sense, it'll be somewhat of a leveler, or an equalizer, because really, I think everyone will have access to this magic genie.
When we were together, we discussed the idea of sustainable abundance on our podcast, and you reinforced the idea that we have a coming age of universal high income, which has become a point of discussion beyond UBI. But I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts on how we get there. Have you reflected on that any further? And more so, you know, we talked about a time frame of civil unrest, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, probably a lot of COVID-like checks in the interim until we get to a demonetization and a deflation that leads us to UHI. Any more reflections on that? Because people need that hope and that vision.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, I don't think we should be sort of complacent. We do need to be careful, because the future is a range of possible outcomes, and they're not all great. But at this point, I do agree with you that it's likely to be great. It's probably 80% likely, maybe more likely to be great. And I do think we'll have universal high income. We're basically just issuing money to people, and the really just because the output of goods and services will so far exceed the money supply that that effectively you have deflation, because just deflation is just the ratio of the outputs of goods and services to the money supply. So if the rate of growth of goods and services far exceeds the rate of growth of the money supply, which I predict will happen, then you will have deflation.
Yes, and a lot of people spinning up new companies, competing against each other, driving the price down, and increasing the variability, and deflation faster and faster.
Yeah, it's basically the AI and robots are going to make so much stuff and provide so many services that they will actually run out of things to do for the humans. They'll just run out of things to do for the humans, and then they'll There's only so much that humans can even express that they want. So you go back to my example of, like, if you go 1 million times greater than the Earth's economy, you've long since saturated all human desire. Maybe if you go 1,000 times more than our current economy, 1,000 times, you probably have already saturated human anything people can think of that they want.
So do you think the value of money is going to significantly decrease? Will we go post-capitalist?
Yeah, I think money will stop being relevant at some point in the future.
So just as you're becoming
it's probably something like an in-banks culture sort of future. And I think the AI down the road will really not use human currency. It will just care about power and mass, wattage and tonnage. And maybe there won't even be money in the future. Or money might be measured in terms of wattage, like how much power can you bring to bear from an electrical standpoint. This looks a bit like the opening in Idiocracy with Mike Judge, unlocking an age of amazing abundance. Yeah, obviously the elements of that are sustainable energy, space travel, and AI and robotics that bring amazing abundance to everyone. It's really the only path to amazing abundance is AI and robotics, which is not to say it can't go wrong. Hopefully, but I think it'll probably go right, and it'll be a future that you love. It's the best future I can think of, at least. And then we go beyond the moon, beyond Mars, and we sail through the rings of Saturn. Now, wouldn't it be amazing if you could buy a trip to Saturn? Or frankly, if you just have a trip to Saturn, I think things will just be free in the future. It sounds nuts, but if you've got an AI robotics economy that is anywhere close to 1 million times the size of the current Earth economy, literally any need you possibly want can be met. If you can think of it, you can have it. So I think Ian Banks, in his culture books, has it pretty much right, where there actually isn't money in the future, and there's abundance for everyone. If you can think of it, you can have it. That's it. Which means anyone could have a trip to Saturn. It won't be, just a few people. If you want it, you can have it. Like in the long term, where will things end up? Long term, I don't know what long term is. Maybe it's 10, 20 years, something like that. For me, that's long term. My prediction is that work will be optional.
Optional.
Optional. So.
We'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be like playing sports or a video game or something like that. If you want to work, in the same way, like you can go to the store and just buy some vegetables, or you could grow vegetables in your backyard. It's much harder to grow vegetables in your backyard, but some people still do it because they like growing vegetables. That will be what work is like, optional. It's kind of interesting. And my guess is, if you go out long enough, assuming there's a continued improvement in AI and robotics, which seems likely, the money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. Currency becomes irrelevant. But AI and humanoid robots will actually eliminate poverty. And Tesla won't be the only one that makes them. I think Tesla will pioneer this, but there will be many other companies that make humanoid robots. But there is only basically one way to make everyone wealthy, and that is AI and robotics.
And we'll see what happens long term. When currency doesn't matter anymore, just let me know right before.
You'll see it coming. You'll see it coming. So, I guess what I'm saying is hang on to your Tesla stock. Yeah.